This is Burn the Ship. Thanks, my friend. I appreciate you coming. Anybody that dedicates the time to us, I want to say thank you very much, first of all. But this is Burn the Ship. Our goal is to connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. And it's been an exciting journey for us. We've worked really, really hard to build this network up of people that we've done the podcast with, created content for, and continuing to create relationships with. And it's been a really, really good time. It's been very fulfilling for us. So I appreciate you being a part of that. I appreciate you assisting our audience and making their dreams come true. And it's a really important thing for us. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your business?
Hi, Greg Vetter Productivity, Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Nice. And tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, the goal is basically to create 2 hours for an individual every day that they can spend their time on their one priority. I don't believe you have priorities. I believe there's only one thing. And so if you follow my system, a Vetter Way system, it's a Vetter Way to Work organizational system. That allows you to create an extra 2 hours every day. And what I want you to do in those 2 hours is to spend the time on that one thing. And when you do that, magic occurs.
For sure. And so who are some of the people that you work with?
Well, I've been very lucky. I just finished working with Oxford University over in England, the Rhodes Trust. I created and helped them standardize their database, which is pretty neat. I never thought I'd be doing anything like that for England over there, first time.
Hmm.
In the United States, many big businesses, anyone from CDC to EPA to Federal Reserve, government-wise, to Coca-Cola. I personally coached one-on-one with over 150 of their executives and employees. Not too many people, I think, have been lucky enough to do that. Georgia Power, Georgia Pacific, IBM, many big names.
For sure. And so, what are some of the things that you consistently see that you address and kind of instill the solution for?
Well, it's kind of interesting. They always say take your quirk and make a business out of it. And that's what I did. I had 4 careers previous to this one, which I started in the 80s. And what I wanted to do was basically help people get organized, help people create work processes. Think about just loading your dishwasher and getting your dishes clean. There's a million ways you can do it. There's always a better way, or as I like to say, of course, a better way, which is my registered trademark. It's a better way to do it, but it's from how you put them in to where your cupboards are located in your kitchen. There's a million ways. And most people don't understand that they're continually in a work process. Some of them good, some of them really not good. My
Sure.
goal is to go in and to teach them no matter what they're doing, there's a, sorry, better way to do it, which is a better way to do it to increase their productivity.
Sure. And so you prefer to work in a group setting, you prefer to work one on one. What is like for you these days? Because I know you kind of have a mixture of clients these days, right?
Yeah, I started out working one on one. I love entrepreneurship. I'm so happy I live in the United States and I love to help anybody I can with their business. And that's what I was doing. I was really just one on one with very small business people. Then I realized that if I got into corporate, I could create a lot more effect and get a lot more money. So I kind of shifted. Now I work both, but primarily one on one is the way that you really get real change. I do workshops. I've been lucky enough to be in National Speakers Association and get to meet people like Zig Ziglar. So I do speeches, I do workshops, but the one on one is the greatest experience because that allows an experiential shift. There's nothing like it when you're in the midst of doing it. You can talk about it and hear it, but when you're in the middle of doing it, that's a big thing. When I would go through the one-on-one organizational training where we'd go through every piece of paper in their office. Now, if you think about that, that's a lot of things to go through. And I have a 5-step system of technology that allows them to go through it quickly and remember it, and then categorize it and put it away. Well, that's thousands of decisions. So really what I'm pushing is how to become a better person who knows how to make better decisions.
Sure.
A lot of people hate to make decisions, but that's really what it's all about. That's what productivity is. That's what organization is. Everything is about that one decision. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to make that decision.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate to that. What would you say has been your superpower through working both with small business owners and working in corporations? Like, what would you say has been your best skill that's helped you grow your business?
Well, it's funny because the career before I was in the restaurant business, and I was told that I couldn't handle rejection from a psychological test. So I had to figure out a way how to sell and not get rejected. Well, the secret is testimonials and referrals. And as I said previously, I got to work with over 150 folks at Coca-Cola one-on-one. What I learned real quickly was hated to be rejected. And if I could do such a good job with my client and ask for, most people are scared to. You have to ask for it. And it's all about timing. When your client's happy, when your client says something good, then you say, boom, and you ask them. I know you're excited about that, Susan. Who else could you refer me to in your organization? And man, it really works. It was kind of funny because psychologically, the test I took said does not is not good at rejection. And I
Hmm.
thought, well, who is?
Yeah.
You know, before that, what I was doing was knocking on 50 doors when divestiture occurred. One of my other careers in '84 when Bell broke up, and I'd knock on 50 doors every day, and I wouldn't stop until I got 50. And it was funny because here, a town north of Atlanta, Marietta, it was Friday at 7 minutes to 5, and I had two more doors to knock on to get my 50 because I didn't know any better. The only thing I knew back when I started was it's a numbers game.
Hmm.
And the guys offered me a Budweiser, said, come on and have a Bud. I said, sorry, sir, I've got one more after you. And the guy was like flipping out. But I understood if you got the numbers, eventually you'd find somebody that would like it. Later, I realized that testimonials really are the key. And I've got a zillion testimonials. And what's neat about them is some of them are so far fetched. Like one at Coke said, I get done in 2 days what I used to get done in 5. And so one day somebody had said to me, sounds like you made that up. I said, if I would have made that up, I would have said get done in 4 days.
Yeah.
I couldn't lie that badly.
Yeah.
So the referrals are a key.
Yeah. Creating an actual network of the people that you work with and bring value to is very important.
And one other thought on that now is instead of cold calling, what I can do is go back, and this is a big this comes after 35 years or so. I can go back to my clients and just check up on them, not sell them. How you doing? You having problems with this? You used to have problems with that. Who does that to you? Think about that. Which vendors come back and actually care enough to check in with you?
Yeah, a very small percentage.
And so by doing that, because the mix in the business is kind of funny on this, Bailey, because 50% caring and 50% business. And if you go too much business, well, you're not really good caring business. If you do too much caring, then you're starting to enable and be codependent and you're not going to have a good business. So there's that good mix that you need to find 50-50.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say are some of the biggest obstacles that you've faced? I mean, obviously you have people challenges, people being set in their ways, trying to create coachability where coachability may not necessarily exist. But what has been from a business perspective some of the most difficult things to overcome?
Me, me personally, with all my craziness and all my baggage, working around that. That's probably the biggest one. After that, the second one would be, I'm curious how many people have actually admitted to that. The second one was not willing to spend money as a small business.
Hmm.
Dumb, 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 dumb. Uh, that wow, when I was in my heyday making a lot of money, I was scared. There's pure fear that I wouldn't have enough money. Scarcity issue. My parents grew up in a depression, so you get some of that stuff, and that is at least from my point of view. Um, it's interesting because over 35 years, I've only spent $100 on advertising
Wow.
in 35 years, and I did that originally. I had an advertisement in a training manual where I would hope people would. But there are ways that you can spend money and invest in your money that small business people are just scared to.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of clients, one thing I learned is it's another great lesson I learned was going from a career of managing people, thinking it'd be easier, and shifting to changing people. That was another dumb
Sure.
one because people generally don't want to change. There's
Oh
a
yeah.
very few people that really want to change. And it's interesting if you think about it. Think about an animal at nighttime burrowing into the side of the hill in this cold little hole. It's cold, but it's safe and it's familiar. Now think about building a luxury suite hole next to it with curtains and a big plush bed. You think that would ever? No way. Because he's familiar. And that's what we do. I used to be a social worker and in aid dependent children and in child abuse and neglect. So a mother is unfortunately beating up a child continuously. You go in and do an intervention to take the child away. When you go in, who do you think the child reaches for?
The mother.
Familiar. And that's it. We are so familiar with what we do that we feel safe. Think about it. When you're in a time of crisis, you always revert back to what you know. And so real change occurs over time, and there's got to be accountability. People will come up to me and say, I just want to do a workshop. I said, no, because if you just do a workshop, you're going to, unless you're, one out of a million, you're not going to really be able to change. You might be that one person, but most people can't. Most people need more over a period of time, and they need to be held accountable because we are habituated to doing the same thing over and over.
How do you break those cycles though?
How do I, or how does a client?
Either way. I guess from a human perspective is what I'm asking.
Well, there's an old saying in 12 step that when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll stop being sick and tired and being sick. Being tired, meaning most people unfortunately have to get to a point when they change to be almost broken, and that's
Hmm.
that's sad. There's a very small percentage. I've thought about this number many years. There might be 2% that are actually doing well and want to move to another level. Then you have a very small percent that are broken, uh, know they need to change, their business is about to go under, they've gotten a bad review. And then the majority of people, the 80% of the population, are like, oh, fine. Well, they're not fine, but that's what they're in that state of denial, which is okay because if they don't want to change, they're not going to change. So there's a very small group of people that are really willing to be able to and want to.
What do you so is part of the process for you analyzing the types of people that you're working with? Like, is part of it for you is trying to understand where people are in their journey so that you can meet them there and address a specific part of your solution?
Yes, my background educationally was all in psychology. One of my other careers was all in psych stuff.
Sure.
So that's certainly a nice advantage. The other thing that worked so well was I had run a $36 million sales territory years ago in telecommunications after I did the knocking on doors. And so being able to have a couple different backgrounds is really helpful. What I generally do is ask a person, and believe it or not, most people have some sense of what's not working. And the people that don't, a lot of times the training is just getting them to identify what they're unaware of. And I know that sounds very simplistic, but sometimes it's that simple.
So, what does it look like for you in the future? Like, what are you looking to add more corporate clients? Or are you still looking to work one on one with small business individuals? What does it look like for you?
uh, anything and anyone. I love what I do. It's out of all the careers I've had, this is a great opportunity to actually move person from here to here. And how often do you get to do that? I mean, you really don't. As nice as it was when was in the food business and restaurant business, that's feeding people. I'm getting somebody to shift from here in life to here. And what's interesting, what I learned from experiential training is if you really surrender and you're all in on an experiential training, it'll affect everything in your life. And I didn't know that because until I got into trainings like LifeSpring, or then there were ones like EST, a lot of personal growth trainings. And that's something you learn in those, that when you make a decision in one, and my training is experiential because you're actually in the middle of it and you're going through it. And it's tough. It's a tough training because what I'm doing is coming in a blitzkrieg kind of way and disrupting everything and expecting you to be willing to do it.
So, if people are interested in doing business with you, they want to buy something from you, they need your training or some guidance. How do they find you? How do they get in touch with you?
Best is my phone number, 404-250-1727. I'm a firm believer of talking. The other is my website, vetterproductivity.com, VETTER productivity.com.
Um, well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast for sure. I mean, your message is something very, it should at the very least let the audience know that there are some ways that you can increase productivity and find solutions for your lack of productivity in your everyday life. It's a very human thing. It's something that you have to be honest with yourself about, but there are solutions and there are people to work with and positively impact you from a work point perspective. So the way that we kind of always in the podcast here, right, is asking people really what it's like to go all in on your business, right? I think everybody has this light switch moment where you decide to go all in on being an entrepreneur and you decide, hey, I have to figure out a way to solve these problems or my business is not going to make it. It's like you said with your sick and tired analogy. If people are at that sick and tired point, or if people fear that sick and tired point so much that they never even start with their business, what words would you give those people about the experience of going all in on their business? Why should they seek out that opportunity to at least learn, you know, what the problems could potentially be and if there's a way to solve them?
Are you talking about as an entrepreneur or as a client?
As an entrepreneur.
Well, it's interesting because this is my second business. And on both businesses, I made a simple decision. And again, weird, there it is, we're back to decision. And the decision was I was going to be successful. And I know that sounds kind of corny, but that sustained me. I never believed that I would fail, no matter what I did, because I knew that if I worked hard enough and I worked smart enough, we're all taught to work hard. You know, I used to work 100-hour work weeks
Hmm.
when I was in the food business. And there's a difference working a 50-hour work week and 100. So for me, it's making that decision and to be successful. And when you do, it's amazing what happens when you keep that image in front of you and just don't accept anything other than that. You will be successful.
Sure. No, that makes a ton of sense. I hope to find some people in our network to connect you with that need you in the future because, like I said, we had a long conversation on the phone the first time we talked about really some of the specific instances and use cases of your solution and some of the people that you're working with. That it made me excited. It made me want to have you on the podcast, and I look forward to staying connected with you in the future. If you have anything to leave the audience with, the platform and the floor is yours, my friend. But this has been Burn the Ship.
Thanks. Just remember, it's all about a decision. When you make a decision, it's either going to work for you or not work for you. If it doesn't work for you, then just do something else. And if you follow that, you'll be amazed. It's just two options instead of this insurmountable one.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, well, like I said, I hope to find some people to connect you with, my friend. Your brain is a wonderful one to explore. Truthfully.
I'm happy to help people. Give me a call.
All right, I appreciate you, my friend. Burn the ship.